cease ye from men, whose breath is in his nostrils, for wherein is he to be accounted of? We read these words from the book of Isaiah chapter 2, the verse is 22. It is an encouragement that we get from God, which is telling us as his people that we should cease from men and we should follow no one other than him. So there are people today who trust the ministers, who trust the pastors with all their hearts. There are people today who think that the pastors and the ministers, even anyone whom they believe in, they think that they will take them through the pearly gates of heaven. The Bible is counseling you, my brother, and is counseling me to desist from trusting men, but rather to trust no one other than God and to take him at his word. Welcome once more to our Bible study, where today we'll address another important subject in the Bible. We'll be talking about Zion and his daughters in the later days. Zion and his daughters in the later days. Who is Zion? What are her daughters? Remember that we have got Jerusalem, and as the whole nation of Israel, there was this city called Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem, there was Mount Zion. And now here is the question. We have got the city, and we have got the headquarters of the city. So here is the question. When our topic actually is saying the daughters of Zion in the latter days, what are we exactly talking about? Maybe you are wondering, maybe you are asking yourself, well, this study is for you, and you will learn and you'll understand that. Go with me to the 3rd chapter of Isaiah. There, we'll start with verse 1 going downwards. It is one of the important subjects that we as Adventists today, we need to understand and we need to take note of. God says in verse 1, "For behold, the Lord of hosts, doeth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, and the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. The mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet and the prudent and the ancient, the captain of 50 and the honorable man and the counselor and the cunning artificer and the eloquent orator." So from verse 1 to 3, this is the promise that God is making. He is making it to Jerusalem and to Judah. He is saying that he will take away the stay of bread and the whole stay of water. So remember that when the Bible is saying Judah, it is mentioning to the whole nation of Israel, which is the whole nation of Judah and the kingdom of Judah. So Jerusalem is within Judah. And in this case, in our today's terminology, this is applying to the church and its conference. So in simple terms, Judah being the church as a whole, the children of Israel as a whole at large, and Jerusalem being the general conference, the headquarters of the church, as Jerusalem was the headquarters of Judah. So now God is saying, this is what he will do. So behold, when is he doing this? Remember that we studied Isaiah chapter 2. And Isaiah chapter 2 opens up by saying this is what God will do in the later days. So, which means in this stage, God is making a promise. He's saying to Adventists, to the church at large, He's saying that He will take away the staff and the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water, which means the pockets of the church will run dry. No food, no money, no resources. Why? Because the whole church is robbing God. Because the whole church is doing things which we are not supposed to be doing. And the reason why also, it is because of what this chapter is going to tell us. And verse 2 and verse 3 is promising a promise that every eloquent man will be taken away. So the presidents, the most highly positioned officers that you can think of in the church, all those preachers who are eloquent, God is saying He will take them away. And what will He do? He says that in their place, He will give children to be their princes, and babies shall rule over them. So He will take all those eloquent men, the mighty men that you might think of, those who are eloquent. He says He will take them away and He will give them just little children, the princes and the babies that will rule over them. And He says, the people shall be oppressed, everyone by another, and everyone by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the best against the honorable. When a man shall take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, Thou hast clothing, be thou our ruler, and let this rule be under thy hand. So the Bible is telling us another interesting thing, that in verse 6, a man shall take hold of his brother and of his house of his father, saying, just because you have means, you have resources, be our ruler. And in that day, says verse 7, he shall swear, saying, I will not be a healer, for in my house is neither bread nor clothing. Make me not a ruler of the people. For Jerusalem is ruined, and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord, to provoke the eyes of His glory. So God is saying that for Jerusalem and Judah, they are ruined. Why? Because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord. So, brothers and sisters, our tongue, what the church is doing, the sermons which are being preached each and every Sabbath, are they truth, or they are just sermons which are there to entertain people? God is watching over those things, and He is saying, just because you have spoken lies, He is promising that He will deal with the eloquent orators. They shew of their countenance doeth witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. So it is just because we have rewarded evil unto ourselves. All right. So fast forward to our topic today, which is Zion and her daughters in the last days, in the later days. We will start from verse 16. So just to narrate everything, God is saying that He will remove from Jerusalem and from Judah the staff, the whole stay of bread, and the whole stay of water. So the coffers of the church, brothers and sisters, this is the promise that God is saying. He's saying they will run dry. And the time is coming whereby right now we are trying as a people. Where are the funds? What's going on with the funds? God is saying, just because you have oppressed my people, you have lied, you haven't told my people the truth, and also you have robbed the poor. Read that from verse 12. That the ministry at large is robbing the poor. The second type, which is supposedly to be devoted to the poor and the church, it is not going to the poor and the church. Where is it going? It is busy paying ministers who are not doing the work that God has assigned them to do. People who are preaching smooth topics to entertain the church. People who are allowing the church to do that which is not right. And God is saying, just because of that, the coffers of the church will run dry. And now, here is another thing, which is our subject for today. From verse 16, he says, moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and missing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. So the daughters of Zion, here in this case, the Bible is talking about the ministers' daughters. These are the daughters of Zion. Because Zion, we find Zion within the city Jerusalem. This is where we found Mount Zion as the capital of Jerusalem. So God says, the daughters of Zion, they are haughty. And when they walk, they do not maintain their natural walk. They've introduced a walk whereby they want people to see them. They've introduced a walk of pride, a walk whereby they want to get attention from people. And it says here that their necks are stretched forth and they've got wanton eyes. And they make a tinkling with their feet, mincing as they go, making a tinkling with their feet. And this is what Bible is saying, that because of that. And then he says that, therefore, the Lord will smite with a scalp the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. The Bible is telling us that the daughters of Zion, our ministers' children, they have secret parts that the Lord will discover. Now it's hidden, people don't know. By the time is coming where everything will be exposed, and God will smite them with a scab in their crown, which means their hair, there will be a scab. These hairs which they are breaking about today, God will deal with that. And verse 18 says, in that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their cows and their round ties like the moon. So, which is this, the bravery about their feet and their cows and their round ties like the moon? So, you'll understand that these are the things which are not natural. These are many things that these daughters of Zion make to beautify themselves. And some of them are these things whereby a hat is supposed to be there. You see, women put these funny things, which is not a hat, but it is more like a pin. And God is saying, because of that, I'll remove them. And it is so unfortunate that because of the behavior of the daughters of Zion, our ministers' children, they have also influenced other church members to do as they are doing. So other church members are copying just because the pastor's children are doing it. And God is making a promise here that He will remove that and He will bring that into shame. The chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, these are the things that God will take away. The chains and the bracelets and the mufflers. And today, people, they wear these bracelets, they wear these chains, and one of them is the use of watches. You see that people, they always put on watches, and if you want to see that your watch is useless, it is due to the fact that you put it only on Sabbath when you are going to the public. If your watch is useless and it is not for the issues of pride and for you to be seen, why are you not wearing it then when you are at home doing your chores or doing your things? But you want to put it on Sabbath so that people will see that you are putting on fancy jewelry, you are putting on fancy bangles, and also the issues of rings. This is what God is talking about here. And if you haven't studied about the issues of rings within the Adventism, follow the link right below and you will understand about the issues of rings within Adventists. And verse 20 says, going on, verse 20 says, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the handbands, and the tablets, and the earrings, the rings and nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mangles, and the wimplings, and the crisping pins. So God is saying that He will take away the rings and the nose jewels, as I've said before, that rings are not supposed to be worn by Adventists. And God is saying here that He will take away those things, all those nose jewels, those things that you use to beautify yourself. God will take away. And your changeable suits of apparel. You know, it is a sad thing today that most ladies, many ladies within our church, they've invested so much in buying clothing. They've got a large wardrobe full of clothing. Their cupboards are full of clothing, and they change each and every day just for the sake of fashion and for the sake of pride. And God is saying He will take away all of that. And these things, the crisping pins, you know, today it is even with men that when they wear suits, they put these handkerchiefs and these pins, which are useless, you know, they are just there for decoration. And people, they are like peacocks. They've adorned themselves more like peacocks. God is saying He will take away for all of that away from them. And these things, brothers and sisters, they are there, and people think that it's fashion. It is not fashion. And these are the things that the devil has introduced in our midst. And God is saying He will take them away. And the promise from God is certain and is sure. So it is up to you whether you change your ways today, you adhere to grace reform, you take God at His word, and you dress properly as He wants you to dress. All right, He says, also He will take away the glasses and the fine linen and the woods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a gingle, a rent, and instead of well set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomata, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty men in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. So, brothers and sisters, you don't need to put your men into this dilemma, because verse 25 says that thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty men in the war. So there will be death of thy men, and thy mighty men will die. So the men within the midst of the church who are following these daughters of Zion, the ministers, the pastors' children, the pastors' daughters, who have beautified themselves. And due to their behavior, this thing has been done also by the church at large. Brothers and sisters especially, what you are doing, you are putting your men at rest. And to the men also, by taking regard those ladies, by mingling with them, by marrying them, by having a fellowship with them, walking with them. God is saying you will fall in the war, you will fall by the sword. So God is saying, is giving us a promise. He is telling us that there is death which is coming. And this death is for the mighty men. These men might seem as if they are mighty today, but in the eyes of the Lord they are not. And this is why God is saying they will fall. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, they shall be stink. Where there is this beautiful smell, these beautiful ornaments, all of these things that we are applying today, which are artificial, so that we smell good, so that you smell right, so that these daughters of Zion, they will be good, they will look presentable, which is not a bad thing to be presentable, but just because you have applied these things, you have taken the things of the world and you are doing them, and God is looking at them and He is saying that He will take them away. And instead of that sweet smell, they shall be stink. And instead of beautiful garments, your garments shall be rent. So God will expose each of these things. These things will be exposed and you will see them. And God is saying He will deal with you, brothers and sisters. And He is saying here that there will be execution and a burning instead of beauty. You know, most people are concerned about their wardrobe, as we have said, and God is saying He will deal with that. He will remove those things. Because why? The money that you are using to pay for those things, daughters of Zion, it is not your money. It is the money which belonged to God, that you have appraised the poor to get it. And God is saying He will remove those things. And instead of those beautiful garments, what will it be there? There will be a sackcloth. This is the promise which will stand. And God is saying those things. And in saying, instead of beauty, there shall be a burning. There are people who are so concerned about beautifying their skins today. They want to look out of their natural skin, out of their natural glow. They're applying these ornaments, the beautifying products, which God is concerned about, which are so damaging to our health. And God is saying, instead of that beautiful skin which you are concerned about, a day is coming whereby instead of you being beautiful, they will be burning. So, brothers and sisters, do you want this to befall you? Because it is coming. So, in order for each present truth believers, for each Adventist people, in order for us to be safe, you need to solve your ways with God today. Solve your ways with God today. Make sure that you are striving. Make sure that your character is spotless before God. And remember that the Bible is saying, be ye therefore perfect, as your Father in heaven is also perfect. And if we go to the 4th chapter, God is promising here, verse 3 and 4, that it shall come to pass that is left in Zion, and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even everyone that is written among the living in Jerusalem. When the Lord shall have washed away the filthy of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. So, brothers and sisters, God is promising. He is saying that there will only remain the holy people in His church when? Soon after He removes the filthy of the daughters of Zion. Now the daughters of Zion are boasting, are enjoying this luxurious life that they are getting from the coffers of the church. But God is saying He will remove that because you have oppressed the poor, because you have robbed God's church. And by so doing, God is making a promise that your filthiness will be removed. And remember, when God is removing the filthiness of the daughters of Zion, He is also removing all those who have followed what the daughters of Zion have introduced and what they are doing, which is improper dress, putting things which are not necessary. You know, all those beauty products that you are using, trying to beautify yourself with. God is saying He will take away of all those things. And just because you, my brother and my sister, you have followed to these fashions, you have adhered to what the daughters of Zion have introduced within our midst, God is saying when He is removing and purging His church, you also will be removed. And this is what He is saying. And He will purge Jerusalem by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. So, brothers and sisters, right now, the angels of God, God is preparing to purge His church. His angels are sharpening their swords because there is a greater work which will be done in the church. And may this not befall you. Be warned. Make your ways clean before God today, before it is too late. Because God is coming. And for certain, He is coming. He means serious business. It might be a joke to some, it might be a scary message to some, but His words are certain. God means a serious business. In closing, brothers and sisters, we learn here that the coffers of the church are yet to run dry. Today, the church is crying. This is just the beginning. As long as the church is not doing the things which it is supposed to be doing, as long as we keep on robbing God, as long as we keep on holding business meetings on Sabbath, as long as you are preaching, entertaining people instead of telling God's people the truth, as long as we are doing all those abominations that you are doing as the ministers, as the conference men, as long as also you are robbing the poor, you are oppressing them, you are taking away what is due to them, you are oppressing the churches, you are controlling each and everything in the wrong manner. God is saying that as long as you are doing that, this is the promise and it is certain. Your coffers are yet to run dry. All these funds that the church has today, they will run dry. As long as you are still doing these things, God is saying your time is short. And a period is coming where you will try for the funds, but they won't come because you have abused them. You didn't use them the right manner. Today, the children of God, they are even struggling for health, they are even struggling for education because our health systems are so expensive. We are not even giving right principles of health. God is saying He will deal with you. And also, we learn that God is promising that when He is dealing with the filthiness of the daughters of Zion, which are the ministers' daughters, He will also deal with those who have followed the ways of these daughters. So all these fashions that they have introduced, all these funny haircuts, all these funny hair dressing styles, all these things that have been introduced, the braids, all these funny peacock fashion styles, the rings, all these things, the high heels. God is saying that as long as you have followed them, when He is removing their filthiness, He will also remove you who have followed them. So be careful, brothers and sisters. Be warned and take God at His word and follow Him today before it is too late. God bless.